All right, well, we got some more good news. What day was it? Thursday? Wednesday afternoon, I think. Yeah, it was Wednesday afternoon because it was whatever day it was a couple days ago, earlier this week. I woke up one afternoon to a phone call that the property sold where the barn's at. Y'all ain't gonna believe. Oh, y'all ain't gonna believe what that ground sold for. First off, the listing had me laughing the whole time because there was several misconceptions on that thing. First off, they had the red barn that we use listed as a 60 by 80. It ain't. It's a 48 by 64. They had the gray barn listed right, but the problem is the gray barn is so undermined by woodchucks because it's got a concrete floor in it, and the concrete floor is so undermined by woodchucks, you can't park anything in there of any weight unless you had somebody come in there and pump those holes full of grout. Otherwise, you're going to collapse the floor. They said that it butted up to the river. Well, the river is a creek that only flows when we're in a wet season. Otherwise, it'll dry up, and there's only like maybe 8 feet of frontage. And the neighbor's pole barn, because the property's shaped, so you got it's mostly a rectangle. But then back here on this corner, there's a little slit, like let's say the river's right here and the property's here, and there's this little teeny tiny sliver. How the hell it even got broke off? I have no clue who breaks up property like that. There was this little teeny tiny sliver that started out like 20 foot wide and ended up like 8 foot wide. Just this little sliver. And the neighbor's property right here, and they have a pole barn that is literally built 2 feet back off that property line. If you open the door on that pole barn, the door is trespassing. So yeah. They said it had septic and a well. Well, the septic system was put in without well, I shouldn't even call it a septic system. It had a septic tank that was put in without a permit, and the tank was 30 years old and never had anything done with it, so Lord knows if the tank's even still good. There is indeed an electric well out there. Hasn't seen water since they put it in, because their plan was they were going to build an apartment in the front of that red barn we use. Who in their right mind would have thought about doing that? I don't know the way the barn's built, but regardless, that's what they were planning on. So the septic and the ground out there won't pass perk. So if you were to go in there and try to build on it now, you would have to put in a mound system. The septic is valueless. And the well is probably junk. The casing probably still good, but you'd have to put a new well in. And you got Amtrak. It's 250 feet deep at its widest point. You got the highway running in front of it, Amtrak running behind it, and an active gravel pit across the road. I just could not see why anybody would be interested in buying that. But they listed it at $175,000, 5.8 acres, and 2 barns. No value in the timber because it was logged 20 years ago. So, a couple people out of Chicago must have decided they really wanted it. And they started a bidding war. 5.8 acres with 2 barns right on the highway, between a highway and a railroad track. Almost $400,000 for 5.8 acres. I just about shit a brick when I heard that. So, needless to say, we got till the 26th of February, so next month, to get all of our stuff out. We're going to start doing that sooner rather than later. Actually, Thursday afternoon, I was over there. It must have been Thursday I got the phone call, because it was Thursday afternoon before I went into work. I started moving stuff out. I got the soil finisher and rolling harrow over at Mom and Dad's. I got the 8-row Oliver planter over there. I got I pulled the J&M wagon that doesn't have the auger on it. I brought that over here, and I brought our 10-ton Kilbros gear over here. that I eventually need to build a hay rack for that gear, because I'd make one hell of a hay rack gear. That thing pulls amazing. That's a 60-mile-an-hour gear right there. Loaded, unloaded, it don't care. That's a nice gear. If anybody's looking for a suggestion for a good running gear that tows good, find a Kill Bros. Awesome gear. But anyway, so I got the process started. I brought a pickup load of stuff home or back over here. And we had all these wheels and tires and stuff over there, and all those parts. Most of this combine stuff was here already. But needless to say, I got that started Friday afternoon. If you remember, there was this little like foyer goofy wall thing that they had scabbed in here. I knocked all that out. Friday night while I was at work, I guess it would have been on third shift. Friday morning while I was at work, I found these shelves on Craigslist, not too far away, for $100. They're 4x10s, and they were 10 foot tall, but obviously I've only got I think these are like 7, and this is like a 7.5 foot ceiling in here, so I had to knock 4 feet off of them. I made them 6 foot, and obviously put them up in here for part storage. Worked out good, so I got enough room to get through this door, and I got enough room to get through that door, and the way they're staggered, you got room to work in here. So all of the small partsy shit that we got over there is going to come over here and go in this room, and I'm going to get some of the stuff out of the barn at Dad's and bring over here to kind of start getting some of my shit out of his barn, which needs to happen anyway. But I really don't think I did too bad on these things for $100, because I was looking at new ones at Lowe's. They don't have any this big, but I was looking at 24x48s at Lowe's that I think were 6 foot tall with 3 shelves, and they wanted $300 for them, brand new. So for $100 for 4x10s that are a lot heavier, hell, I probably got, those are, don't know if those are half, or I think those are 1/2 inch sheets of plywood. I probably got $350, $400 in plywood here at today's prices. So, but I got combine parts here. I got plow parts here, cultivator parts down there, all the wheels over here. We got more small shit to bring over. The big move is probably going to start tomorrow. Probably going to start moving equipment out of there. Sorting out what we want to haul to scrap, because we got a bunch of not like equipment. Well, we got two Model 100 Plowmaster carcasses over there that are just, they need to go away. That's probably the equipment that's getting scrapped. But just random ass junk that's been accumulated over the years that we kept for some reason. So we're going to sort out the good from the bad, get all the equipment, except I'll bring the fertilizer wagon over here and park it with the J&M over here. That's probably it. I didn't want to go, even though it's going to end up over here eventually, I didn't want to go dragging a bunch of shit over here, because I don't want to get stuff in the way of getting grade work done and doing everything for the barn. So it's all, unfortunately, going to have to be moved twice. It's all going over to Mom and Dad's for now. And then once the barn's up, the vast majority of it's going to come back over here. We're going to get a game plan together sooner rather than later to get the hole knocked in this wall. I've already got the guy I'm cleaning up that field for gave me a bunch of I-beam, H-beam, 5x5 H-beam, that I'm going to make a frame out of. To basically what I'm going to have to do, because these floor joists are, they got this little notch in them, and then they set down in a notch in this main beam. At least I think that main beam's notched, maybe not. Main beam's got to be notched. It looks like it's notched right here, maybe. Either way, I'm probably going to, I don't know, I wouldn't lose a whole lot. That's probably about 2.5, 3 inches right there, so I'd only be down to about here. But I'm gonna make, Dad's gonna come over and we're gonna look at it and get a final plan together. But what I'm probably gonna end up doing is right smack underneath the center of these main joists Gonna come in and cut out like a 16 by 16 or something. Probably wouldn't even have to come out 16 because the post is gonna be right up flush against the wall. I could probably come out like 10 by 16 maybe. But I'm gonna punch a square in the floor, pour a pillar here and a pillar over there, jack up the center of the barn here just a little bit, just basically enough to relieve pressure off the wall. Build a frame out of that H-beam to span, and it'll be behind this beam and up against the floor joist, so that'll help support the joist and take some of the load off that main beam. Because there's a lot of strength in that main beam, but you still don't want to spanning that all by itself. So, but pour 2 pads and then put weld flange or bolt flanges on the bottom of the frame and bolt it down, and then set the floor back down on that frame, and then it'll be in tandem with that holding up the center section of the floor. Get the wall knocked out. I'm gonna have to rent or find somebody that I can borrow a concrete saw from, and probably come back like 2 or 3 feet into here and saw out a chunk and bust this floor out to get a ramp coming up in here, because right now it's like a 10-inch step up from the manure pad out back. And then we'll get these posts fixed and everything can go, or all the short equipment will go in here. I should be able to get I might be able to get all 3 grain drills in here. I haven't. It's 161 from outside to outside on them posts. I'll have to come back in here and measure it. But basically anything that doesn't require a bunch of headroom, all the hay equipment, the baler, my sickle mower, my crimper, everything, a bunch of stuff can go in here. And the Super 55 is going to come over here and live that way, because I need that, because it's the only thing we got that's short enough as of right now to get under here. So, and then I got a plan worked out for the barn. Went and talked to the bank yesterday. If this had to happen, after what I learned at the bank yesterday, if all this had to happen, I am actually glad that it happened now, because borrowing money is incredibly cheap. This is not costing me nearly as much as I thought it was going to as far as borrowing money. Basically, they just refinanced my home loan and tacked it on there, and it brought my interest rate down and a whole bunch of stuff, and didn't raise my... It worked out good. So I'm feeling a lot better about doing this than what I was when it all initially started. Let me turn the lights on in here real quick. And I have to get I got a zoning I don't have to get a building permit because it's ag use, but our county or township requires a zoning permit. They basically just want a site plan with dimensions and stuff off the property line, so that they know you're not encroaching on just the setbacks, which it should be 20 feet, but I'm 40 feet from my south property line, and the initial barn is going to be 50 feet from the west property line, and the other ones are also far away. It doesn't matter, so I should be good there. I got a quote. I got 4 more quotes on top of that initial one for $57,000. I had one for one came in at $65,000. They're now and I had one come in at $43,000. I had one come in at what did that guy text me the other day? $53,000. And the final, or the cheapest bid I got was a place called Arnold Lumber out of Decatur, Indiana, so over by Fort Wayne. I was actually impressed that they drive this far to put it up, but they said they service within 100 miles of Decatur, so I'm within 100 miles of Decatur. Let me pull the email up here, because they sent me a blueprint of the building, and I could show you what we got going on here. So everybody else was pricing me out a 40 by 60 by 15. And on Arnold Lumber's website, they have a 40 by 60, or 40 by 64 by 14, so 14 foot tall kit. Unfortunately, the price they had listed on the kit was no good for me, because we're up here where we're at, they have to build heavier trusses, so the trusses were more expensive. So we had to requote it for me for a 50-pound snow load truss. But for a 40 by 64 by 14, so 4 foot longer and a foot shorter, they came in for just materials, because they priced it as a kit for me, and they priced it erected. For the kit was $30,200, and then another $8,500 to erect it. So it was 38.7. No, 38.6 to put it up. Or was it 8,500? No, it was 8,400. Yeah, so 38.6 to put it up. And they came in so cheap, I was like, well, I'll just have them price it out to jack it up on their foot and go back to 15 foot like everybody else has been pricing me and like what I'd rather have. So I called and talked to him about it, and he said, well, at that point, if that's what you want to do, I order all of my lumber in 2-foot increments, so you're buying the lumber to put up a 16-foot sidewall anyhow, might as well just price out at a 16-foot. So he came back at a 48 or a 40 by 64 by 16-foot sidewall with the 20-foot sliders in both ends, and everything else is the same, except for it's going to be 4 foot longer and a foot or 2 foot or a foot taller. So that came back erected at 42.2. So I'm still cheaper than my lowest price on a 40 by 60 by 15. So they're probably the ones I'm going to go with. And I've never, unfortunately, they don't really, I'm going to call and ask if they have any barns up here they built. I doubt it, because nobody around here has ever even heard of them. But I have to call. I'm locked in on the quote for another, I believe, 10 days. Yeah, I think 10 days. I'm good on my loan. They don't, it'll be 45 to 60 days until my loan is finally approved, but they did not see any reason why I should be denied on it. And I have to get the site plan to the township Tuesday, because they're closed Monday for Martin Luther King Day. I have to get I think that's the only two things I got to do. Those are the only two things I got to do there. So basically, the only thing I'm waiting on is approval from the township. I need to get 10% down on this thing to get locked into my price. I'm good on the as long as I'm within 10 days. So when I get that stuff into the township, I got to see how long it's going to take them to either approve or deny it. And if they're within 10 days, I'm good. If not, I'm going to have to just, in good faith, pray to God that they're going to let me put this barn up and get 10% down on this thing so that they don't have to jack my price up. I got my excavation guy was here this morning. We shot grade. It's not nearly as low back there as it looked like. It's only going to have to take about 10 inches to bring it up level. And that's 10 inches in the center, because the center is the lowest spot. Actually, all 4 corners are within 4 inches of each other, which surprised the hell out of me. But this is the plan. They're giving me 6x6 treated posts, which I thought were pretty massive for a pole barn. 2 rows of 2x6 tongue and groove treated bottom nailers, which I didn't even know that anybody made a 2x6 tongue and groove, unless they have them custom milled. 412 trusses on 48-inch centers. 2-foot center on the girts on the roof and the sidewalls. 29 gauge sheet metal, 12-inch overhang. 2 20 by 16 foot doors, because they use the bottom board of the truss as their header. 1 service door, no windows, base guard, and a 24-inch skylight panel, the clear plastic stuff down the west side on the top of the west sidewall. And the other thing that this place does that nobody else does is they give you three color options. You can color the roof, the trim, and the sidewall siding all different colors. Everybody else, the trim was going to end up being the same color as the roof, which I don't like it when that happens. I want I'm going to do it a green roof, white trim, red sidewall to match the other barns around here. And then, so this is the, hopefully you can see it. Maybe if, nope, that's not going to make it any better. That's going to make it. So 40 by 64 by 4 or by 16. There's the doors. The service doors going in. It'll be, if the peak's running north-south, it'll be on the north wall, east side of the slider. So it'll be close. It'll be like facing this barn. And then there's a post layout. And then here is the sidewall. The only thing that I'm not too big of a fan of is they use a knee brace for the trusses. But on a 16-foot sidewall, that damn thing is going to be up so high, it's not really going to be in the way of anything. But the 2 rows of treated 2x6 for the wrap board, that was something everybody else was just going to have 1 row of 2x6 around the bottom. And the only other thing I got to do is when I call and make sure finalize all this, is I got to know what their bury depth is on the post, because I got to believe that they're down around 4 foot, but minimum bury depth for building code around here is a 42 inch from grade. So if we raise it up 10 inches, you'd be 32 inches down into virgin ground. But I need to know what their bury depth is on the post, and to know if they're going to put pull-outs on the bottom of it, which is basically they nail boards on all 4 sides to give it more oomph, to keep it from pulling out. So that as of right now is the barn plan. And like I say, tomorrow we're going to start going at moving stuff out of there. And I guess we're just have to go from there. So sorry, it's kind of a boring video, but people are interested in this barn project, and I figured it was a good time to update you on where everything's at, and the fact that that property sold already for that price is mind-boggling. So it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it. But after talking to the bank yesterday, and with everything kind of falling into place, I'm a lot more comfortable doing this now than I was 2 weeks ago. So, and to tell you the God's honest truth, I am actually, now that I realize how much stuff, once I went over, because I was out there moving stuff Friday, and I was standing inside that barn looking at it, and I'm like, there is no way this is a 60 by 80 pole barn. There's no way in hell. So I started counting posts, and I found out it's 48 by 64, and I realized, hell, the barn I'm building is only going to be 8 feet narrower, 1 set of posts, and a lot of equipment that's out of there is going to be down here, and the only thing I'd be adding to that floor space would be the 8700 and the new planter. So we should have no problem between the basement here and that barn getting everything under cover. Plus, I'm going to move my 66 and the Super 55 over here for Mom and Dad, so Dad will gain some barn space back over there, and it's all going to work out for the better. So the more I think about it, the more excited I am about having a barn over here and being able to have my 66 over here, so I got a real tractor besides the Cub and all that stuff. So, but anyway, that's enough of me talking, because, you know, I get all those people that, well, not all those people, but the rare few people that bitch about videos where I talk too much, so they can go pound sand. But anyway, that's an update of where we're at. So I'm gonna go home and unhook the trailer and get this video up. So that's it for this one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one, which will probably be moving equipment. It's gonna be a cold day tomorrow.